So you show up for your round, you warm up, you feel great, and then you get out on the course and it takes you till about your third or fourth hole to actually start getting a grasp. So how do you go from hitting it good on the range to taking you 2 or 3 holes, maybe even 4 holes, to start getting your round going, but the first few holes have completely screwed up your front 9? Why is that? Well, most of the time it's because of your warm-up. You know, there's a very, very typical way players warm up. They start with the wedge, they hit their, they work all the way up to the driver, and there's no structure to how we get prepared for the first tee. So what we're going to go over today is a very simple 3-step plan that's going to show you exactly what you can do every single time before you go out to play to get ready for the first tee. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with making sure that we have our aim calibrated. Now, before we get way into this, technique's very important. There's a time to practice technique, but when we're going out to play, we need to focus on performance, and that's exactly what this is going to help us do. We are going to be performing. So by getting our alignment first, we can then have feedback for the entire day. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw an alignment stick down. We're going to make sure we pick out a target so that we have a baseline of where we're aiming, and we're going to use that baseline to calibrate our aim. So I know right now this is aimed right about down the middle of the fairway here. So before we even hit a shot, and this could take you 20-30 seconds at the most, where you set up to your shot just like you would on the golf course, and what you're going to do is you're going to look up at your target. Now here is where you're going to calibrate your aim for the day. You're going to see, does the target look like it's dead straight? Do you feel like you're aimed right? Do you feel like you're aimed left? Now, if you get on the golf course, so like let's say for instance right now, the target looks like it's maybe a little bit to the right to me, just a little bit. So I have where I see center and I see where my target is. Now when I get on the course and I'm aiming at the stick, I'm going to know I want that stick to look like it's just right in my center. And now you could be just a little bit to the left. It doesn't really matter, but now I know for that day where I perceive where I'm aimed at. So what we're going, that's the very first piece. We have to get our perceived aim for the day. Once we have that, now we can start hitting some shots. And this is the second piece. We're going to start off with some half swings into some balanced finishes, making sure we're getting very, very nice stuck finishes. So what this should look like is I'm aimed at my target here. I'm going to take a little half swing. Okay? Pretty good direction, everything's good. I'm in a nice balanced finish. Now let me show you how we don't want to do this. We don't want to take a half swing and have a wild follow through. Maybe I'm falling around. We don't want that. We want to stick our finish with these half swings so that we can make sure that we're starting off with, which is the third piece, which we'll get into in a second, getting these balls to start off at our target. So the main thing here is half swings into a nice balanced finish. Okay, so that one I wobble just a little bit. My ball started off a little bit to the right. Now we're going to get into the third piece. It's actually a perfect example. I know that ball started off a little bit to the right, so now I need to start squaring up my club face to the target. So once I get a good sensation for that, then I'm going to be ready for the first tee. But squaring up that club face is the most important part by far, making sure we're properly doing this. So if I know, now that I'm getting ready, okay, I know that club face was really square to my target, and I know that's going to go nice and straight. Now I can start grooving that into my swing for the day. Now, if we're squaring up the club face properly, we can do this every time and we can calibrate it every day so that we can get to the first tee and start hitting shots right at our target. Well, I've got a great bonus for you. Head instructor and owner Clay is going to show you exactly how to square that club face up so that you can get ready for your round with the best drill we've ever had for squaring up the club face, which is the tennis racket drill. He's going to show you exactly how to do this, and I'm actually going to play a preview of that lesson at the end of this video. If you want to see that whole lesson, make sure you click on the iCard that's popping up on the screen. If you don't see that iCard, that's fine. We have a link in the description below that you can click on and get right to that entire video. We'll see you in the next lesson.
Good player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it. The flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel my club up through my right elbow. That's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be